Hi everyone, I'm Oliver and welcome back to OC Aviary. Now as you can see, we're in the small bird room today, and the reason being is that we're going to be looking at all the new birds that I've brought in from the Stafford National Exhibition Show and Sale. So we're going to begin by looking at the quarantine process which I'm starting since we've brought the birds in, and why I'm quarantining them, and a couple of the products I'm using to take them through the whole quarantine process. And then we're going to take a look at each of the birds individually. We're going to look at each species, why they're here, who I got them from, and we're going to have them in the show cages as well for you to look at, and hopefully you like them. I'm pretty sure, pretty confident you will, looking at a few of the things that I've brought in, so we'll get right to it. So beginning with the quarantine process, the reason I'm quarantining the birds is because by bringing them from a show, I just want to make sure that they haven't picked up anything from whilst they're there. Now, everyone who I've picked these birds up from, I know them as breeders, and I know that the birds are very well kept. So I'm not concerned about the birds' health in that way from the shed they've come from. However, if you have bought birds from the show, it's always a good idea to keep them at least separate from your other stock, just in case there is any problems, disease, mite, anything like that. You can get on top of it fast as soon as they come back from the show. Now, everything, like I said, was brought in from people I know, so I know the background of the birds is fine. However, what I'm trying to do is make sure that before I put them with my birds and we do a bit of a mix-up like that, I just want to make sure they're completely clear of anything nasty that they could have picked up. Also, I don't want to be mixing them with anything that's already established here, so I don't want to be putting in some new birds in with some pre-existing birds, because as they're trying to settle in after having the long move from wherever they've came from in the country to then that, I don't want them getting bullied by something I've already got. Now, throughout this whole process of quarantine, I'm going to be doing this for probably 2 or 3 weeks and just checking on the birds' health. I'm telling you right now that everything is looking fantastic, so fingers crossed, touch wood, there's no problems at the moment. So there's 4 things which I'm using for the quarantine. So the first is a vitamin supplement. Now again, I'm just not going to show you the label just because I'm still trialing this, and I just want to make sure it all works fine before I show people. So this is a multivitamin. It's 1 ml to 2 litres, so it's very concentrated, and that's been on all the birds' water for the past few days since I picked them up on Sunday at Stafford. So that's just to really help them, and as much as they are going to be stressed from the whole move, it's just going to help, you know, make sure that things don't get the best of them, and just make sure they're in top condition as we've brought them in. The next thing is Baycox, so I'm going to treat all of the birds that I've brought in for Baycox, well, for coccidiosis with the Baycox, and that's just going to help with obviously clearing them out of coccidiosis and anything like that. And it just does mean that it's helpful when you move birds and they are stressed. They do have a tendency where they can suffer from going like a lot more. For example, young greenfinches, when you wean them from the parents, they can suffer quite a lot and die because of coccidiosis getting the best of them, because once they're stressed, the immune system goes down, the coccidiosis levels rise. So that's what I'm doing with all of these birds, is to make sure that from that move they are fine, and it's just to help keep on top of it if there is anything. The next is HERBAN. This is a oregano extract supplement, and it's a worming agent basically. And it's just going to clear the birds of any parasites or anything like that. We haven't given them that yet because we're only in the first few days, and I don't want to be overloading the bodies with anything that could damage them, damage the liver, and put them under too much stress. And then finally, Frontline. Now, I am yet to administer the Frontline on them, just because I've been trying to keep them calm and as stress-free as possible since the move, but we will be doing it before we move them, a good week before we move them to anything else where our other birds are. So the Frontline, that is just a sort of a spray against ticks and mite and all this. Now, it's not approved for use in birds at the moment. However, an awful lot of fanciers do use it, and it just, all you have to do is put a single drop of the Frontline onto the bird's preen gland, which is just above the tail, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, it's always worked for me and it's usually worked for a lot of other fanciers, is that it's going to clean them out of mite on the bodies It just means that we aren't introducing anything else nasty into the bird room. Now, everyone suffers from mite, however, just trying to keep on top of those levels. So that's my quarantine process. We've cleared and disinfected all the cages prior to the birds coming, so there's no nasties that could be in my cages from my birds, which could get onto these guys, especially as they're stressed out. So from there, I think it's time that we have a look at some of the new birds we've brought in. So the first birds we're going to take a look at, which I've brought in, are these, and these are Portuguese Harlequin canaries. Now, these are 2021 bred birds, and these were donated to the channel by my good friend Alexandra Rees. So thank you very much, Alex. It's really appreciated, obviously, the gift in the birds to me, and I'm really happy with them. So the reason for bringing on the Portuguese Harlequins is they are I believe it's a rare breed canary, and they are renowned for the feeding ability. After having a chat with Alexandra, he's said that they are very good at feeding, which is perfect because that's the main idea of having canaries at OC Avery, is that they are going to be used for feeding for the natives as backups. So these birds are going to be great to have once we get into the next season for breeding, and they'll be probably feeding things like greenfinches, bullfinches, and hybrids and mules, which we're going to talk about a bit later on with some of the new birds we've brought on. So these are absolutely stunning looking birds, and I really like them. So what we've got here, the two males are the more pied birds, those with a lot of white on them basically, and the two females, the two hens, are the greyer ones. So for example, the bird that keeps hopping back and forth. Now, that bird in particular behind me is a fantastic example of a good hen. After having a chat again with Alex, he was saying that with having the richness in red, it works out really well that you can, you've got a really nice looking bird there. So when we pair that to one of the sort of pied canary males, then hopefully they should produce as a good mix of both the lighter pied colours and the dark variants of the Portuguese Harlequin. So just once again, a massive thank you to Alex for those birds. They're going to be used next year, not only breeding them straight but as feeders as well, and that's one of the main ideas of having them is as feeders. They're lovely birds, and perhaps if I can pick up some show cages for these guys, I do believe they're showed in sort of a Fife or Borders style cage, so they might get a run out at some of the local CBS shows or anywhere where the British birds are in the same sort of show as what these guys can be classed as. Obviously my main idea and the main birds I focus on are the British birds, but we have a few canaries for the reasons I've just spoke about, so maybe they'll get a run at a few shows this year. Now what we have here, I am super excited about what we picked up. Now I actually picked these up 2 days before Stafford from my friend Ian. So massive thank you, Ian, for the deal he gave me with the native bullfinches that we've got here. And if you were in the live stream, I did accidentally leak the information that we've got these. Now we've got here 5 native bullfinches. We've got 3 hens and 2 cockbirds. Now the cockbirds I would say are buff birds, but they're lovely looking birds, and the hens are fantastic. I absolutely love the look of the hens. I'd say that all 3 hens are yellows, and they've got a really good almost chocolatey colour to them, so I am really pleased with that. So that's 5 native bullies we've brought on, 3 hens, 2 cockbirds. Now we're going to see a bird later which will be related to these guys, and the idea of having brought these guys in is the cockbirds we're probably going to we're going to be keeping the cockbirds, but we might have to do a swap with some blood just because they are all siblings here, they're all nestmates. But the idea of the hens is that we're going to be having 3 native bully hens to do 3 native bully hybrids with next year. That's the main idea of me bringing on the bullfinches. So the hens that we've got, the ideas aren't set in stone yet as to exactly who we'll be pairing with what. But I'm thinking, because we've got 3 native bullies here, we're going to have one which will be going with a Norwich canary, going to see a little later on, which we picked up at Stafford. We're going to have one with a crossbill cock and one with a redpoll cock. Now we're going to see those pairs be made in a few weeks time once I've got the DNA back off the REDPOLLs, so I know which REDPOLLs are cocks and which is the best one I want to put with one of these guys. We've got the crossbill cock. We had him last year, so he's an over-year bird, but he's not bred, so I'm kind of hoping, fingers crossed, all goes well to go with a bully hen. And then the same for the Norwich, is that he's an over-year cock bird, who we are going to be taking a look at shortly. But that's our 3 native bullfinches. I'm over the moon with these birds. I think they're absolutely beautiful, and I just must say, and we're going to see it in a future episode, but the difference in size between a native bullfinch and a Siberian bullfinch is immense. I just completely forgot how much of a size difference there is, and we're going to look at that in a different video, just how much differs. But the quality of these birds is great. They've got fantastic feather quality. They're just amazing, so I really hope you're pleased to see them here. 3 native bully hybrids, hopefully like pairs, fingers crossed for next year. So yeah, there you are, there's my native bullfinches. So behind me here, you might even recognise these birds. These birds have clearly been used to a camera, because these birds are from the canary room. Matt very, very kindly donated these birds, gifted me these birds at Stafford, and I completely didn't expect it, but it was a great, really, really kind of you, so thank you very much, Matt. Now, you might be able to tell what they are. They're not actually the Fifes. Matt is obviously known for his Fife canaries, but these are Irish fancies. Now, Matt brought on the 2 pairs last year. They're all over-year birds anyway. We've got 2 cocks, 2 hens, and they just look fantastic. I am really pleased with them. So the idea of having the Irish fancy canaries is that next year we're going to need some small breeds of canary as feeders as well. Not only am I going to breed them straight, because I want to get some youngsters off them, but by having a small breed of canary, it gives me confidence in giving them some smaller breeds, smaller species of British birds to rear. So hopefully these guys will be rearing REDPOLLs for us next year, and that's the main idea, is that having the Irish, they're going to be able to do that for us. And fingers crossed it goes well, but we've got to get through the winter with them first. They're lovely looking birds. Now, I believe one of these hens was ran with a linnet this year, who just didn't fill any eggs. So we might maybe try a mule with them. So we have got the goldfinch cock, who we bred off this year. Perhaps we'll run him over, run him as a trio with perhaps an Irish hen and a Norwich hen. So we'll have sort of songster mules, which will be able to sing much better, and then exhibition mules with the Norwich. But we're going to talk about that in a few videos later, in a few weeks' time, when we come to do our mule and hybrid pairs for next year. And then obviously that is when we'll confirm exactly what we're going to be attempting, and let's hope it works. But that's our Irish fancies. They're fantastic, lovely looking birds. I'm really pleased with them, and I'm sure they'll do their job next year, because they seem to do all right this year. So for regular viewers of the channel, you're going to recognise and understand that I have a really big love for REDPOLLs. I absolutely love REDPOLLs. They're probably the favourite bird that I keep, and we picked up 2 at the weekend at Stafford from Rob Evans. Rob kindly gifted me these birds as well, so you're probably going to be thinking, wow, you've been gifted an awful lot of birds, and I have been very lucky in that, and I massively appreciate everyone who's gifted me things like that. So these are 2 cobalt REDPOLLs. Now, these are from Alan Hoary's line of birds, and Rob has had a few pairs in the past from Alan. So they are absolutely cracking looking birds. Both really dark cobalt REDPOLLs, which is great. And I was looking to try and bring in a bit of new blood into the cobalts, because I don't want to be breeding my cobalts too close. Just because it could cause problems. So I'm trying to, these are my outcrossers for the cobalt line of REDPOLLs, which we're trying to develop. So these are fantastic looking birds. They've got no weight on them, so I'm looking forward to getting some weight on them and giving them some really good extra shape, because they will be going to the shows this year is my plan. We've got an over-year hen, or believed hen, and we've got a current year bird, possible cock bird, but I've sent the DNAs off for these guys just to confirm that for me, so we don't do any hen to hen or cock to cock pairings, because that never works out nice. So that's our Cobalt Redpolls. The markings on these guys are fantastic. We've got the current year bird, which is in that corner. She's I'm going to have to say, because I don't know if it's a cock or hen, has got some great markings and striations down the flanks. And for the over year hen, it's just so well marked throughout. Although they aren't straight, almost connected lines, it's so well marked that I'm kind of hoping if this does turn out to be a cock and hen pair, that pairing could produce us some fantastic, really well marked cobalts. Now they are believed, like I said earlier, to be double factors, because they were bred from 2 cobalts. But however, in a 2 cobalt pairing of both single factors, you can get doubles, you can get singles, and you can even breed normals from that pair. But I'm hoping at least one of them's a double factor, because then that will mean that we can produce definite cobalts from it next year. But we're going to have to see how they breed for us, how they get on throughout this winter. But I really love these birds. Massive thank you to Rob for giving me these guys, and everyone who's ever given me birds will always get offered something back, and I will continue to do that, because I really appreciate the gesture. So massive thank you, and I hope you really like these. So what we have here are 3 birds I got from Richard Jones, and we're going to see a bird room tour from Richard in the next few weeks. So this is from Richard Jones and Arwell Roberts. So massive thank you to the partnership, and congratulations for your win of Best White Canary at Stafford in the Norwich show. Now, what we've got here are 3 birds. We've got a pair of feeders. We've got a I'm going to have to call it a white and blue feeder canary. It's clearly got some lizard heritage, as I've spoken about in a Natives of Norwich Zoom room. The partnership developed a line of feeder canaries through only breeding off the birds that fed the young the best. So they've over the years built up a really good stud of feeders, and that has involved a crossbreed of different canaries: lizards, Norwich, Fife, Irish, and I think there's a few other things chucked in there as well. So I think new colour as well. So there's a fantastic, a great mix of birds in there, and hopefully they're going to be able to do a really good feeding job for us next year, whether that be redpolls, whether that be greenfinches, whether that be bullfinches, whether that be hybrids or something else. And then obviously the cockbird in there is the sort of orange, almost red factor based feeder canary in there. And then what we have is here, now this is a special little bird which I've brought in, who we'll talk about what his job will be next year in a second. But what he is a clear white 75% Norwich. So he's 75% Norwich, 25% something else, and I think that something else is a feeder. So what he's got is the Norwich side of him, so he's got really good feather quality, he's a big bird, he's got the head, he's got most Norwich like features. However, what he's got which makes him a little bit different to a standard purebred Norwich is he's just got a bit more lightness about him. The Norwich has obviously been developed as quite a big, heavy breed of canary, and after having a chat with Richard, Richard had mentioned that they found that the crossbred 75% Norwich are better for mulin and hybrids than are the pure Norwich. They have a bit more go about them and stamina. So the idea of, after having a chat with them, was that to bring this bird on is a clear white 75% Norwich, which is hopefully going to have a lot more drive to breed than just a pure Norwich. As much as it's, I mean, I did struggle trying to get Norwich fit this year, so it's going to give me a bit of an advantage in that he should be an easy bird to get fit. But what he's going to be doing is pairing to a bullfinch hen, a native bullfinch hen. So we're going to be trying canary bully next year. Now, You might ask, why are we doing it with a white Norwich? Why didn't we choose a yellow, a clear yellow bird for the mulling? And the reason being is simple. I want to try a blue bullfinch mule, so I'm hoping that a blue canary bully might be something different. I've searched for photos and I can't find a photo of one, so if anyone's got a photo of a blue canary bully, please drop me a message, send me the photo, I'd love to see it. So the idea of doing it with a white is, I believe it's 50% can be blues, 50% normals. So I'm hoping that with a bird that's probably got a bit more fitness to it and a bit more drive to mate, he'll fill the eggs of the bullfinch. Fingers crossed, I hope so, touch wood. And we might even get some blue canary bullies. So that's the idea of having the 75% Norwich, and I really hope that it works next year. So not only was the feeder pair of canaries in here a gift from Richard Jones, he also gifted me a present, well, a gift. So I've not opened it yet. It's now Thursday when I'm filming you this clip, and I've had it since Sunday and I've been burning to open it. So I'm going to open it now on camera, and this has just been very kindly given to me from Richard, and he just said that he'd definitely like it to go to me. So without further ado, we'll take a look at this as well. Oh wow. So this is an old Cage Birds book, volume 1, to Oliver, top birdman of the future. Here's a taste of the past, Richard. Richard, thank you very much. I'm going to have a really good read through this, but wow, look at this. Some really old articles on cage birds of the past, breeding greenfinches, goldfinch, bullfinch hybrids, loads of old societies, building flights, even some old advertisements. Here we are. Some old opaline parakeets. £3 for some different types of parakeet here. So all sorts of older advertisements. We've got show dates here for loads of really old shows, however old. So here we are, 1956. Some really old articles here. This is fantastic. I tell you what, I might do a certain specific video on just looking through this really old book of cage birds and what have you. Some old sort of mule cages. This is fantastic. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to have a really good look through this. But Richard Jones, thank you so much, mate. It really means a lot to me, and I really appreciate the offer and the gift of this. So I'm definitely going to look after it, treasure it, and well, yeah, just thank you very much. So obviously you've seen all the birds that I've picked up at Stafford. I hope you like them. Please leave your opinions in the comments below. I'd love to see what you think. If you've got any more suggestions of something you'd like to see me put with a bullfinch hen, we've got 3 native bully hens and we've got a Siberian bully hen, which we're going to be doing bullfinch mules or hybrids with next year. Please leave them in the comments below, and I'd love to see your suggestions. Now, something else I picked up from Stafford off my friend Chris Jones, and you might know Chris through mainly breeding a lot of really good top quality siskins, and I've had some siskins off him 2 years ago, is that he's now opened and began a cage bird society alongside, I believe, Richard Jones as well, Arwell Roberts, and just quite a few of the chaps. Yes, that's correct. We've got all sorts of things in here. Yeah, so there you are. Now, what this is, and I hope I'm saying it right, is BEAUMARIS and District Cage Bird Society 2021 show schedule. Now, this is something that I'm really looking forward to hopefully being able to attend. It's a new Cage Bird Society, obviously the first show being this year. So if you are interested, drop me a message and I can forward you on some details. But here you are. It's the show is Saturday the 11th of December. So this is in Wales and it's held in BEAUMARIS Leisure Centre in Anglesey. So hopefully you can make it, and hopefully you can attend. And obviously, especially if you are Welsh and you're from Wales and you've got birds, then I definitely recommend attending. As it's a Cage Bird Society show, you've got all sorts that can be entered. You've got new colours, any other variants of canaries, foreign birds, Java sparrows. There's a whole junior section as well, so if you are a junior, you can compete there as well. Budgerigars, we've got loads of cash prizes to be won as well. We've got borders, Irish canaries, sales section and pet bird section, Fifes, Gloucesters, Yorkshires, Norwich and British birds, British mules and hybrids, northern birds and softbills. So it's a really good show to go to. If you can get there, then drop me a message if you'd be interested and I'll send you through a bit more information. Hopefully Chris can do something from there, but I'm going to really try to attend this 11th of December. Hopefully I'll see you there. So that does bring us to the end of this week's video, guys. So I hope you've enjoyed it and found a bit of useful tips in quarantining the birds, and hopefully, I really hope you do, and I'm hopefully sure you will, is like everything that we've brought on. Obviously the Harlequins for you know, some feeding ability, and also a bit of a rare breed or old variety canary. We've got the Irish as feeders as well, and possible muling birds. We've got the feeders down here for obviously feeders, and the Norwich, the clear white Norwich, which we're going to be putting with a bully hen. We've obviously got the native bullies as well, and the REDPOLL. So I hope you enjoyed the show. Hopefully you really like the birds that I've brought on, and obviously you can catch up with these guys each week on OC Avery. Saturday mornings at 9 AM a new video comes out each week, and we usually do videos obviously on Tuesday afternoons, Tuesday evenings as well. Something a bit different, rather than something from OC Avery. It might be a Zoom room, it might be a bird room tour, something different. So hopefully you'll you know, you've enjoyed it. Hit subscribe down below, smash the like button. I'll see you in the next video.